Happy August, everybody, and welcome into the Gramlich and McLean podcast, presented by Ingles, the official supermarket of Gramlich and McLean. Mac, for many reasons, I thought August would never get here. I'm going to tell you that. But we're here, and I know some people say, like, post July 4th, they feel like football season is here. For me, it's really August. When we hit August in the calendar, it feels like things are getting serious.
Yeah, no, it does. And for me, it kind of similarly, it's as soon as ACC Media Day's over, then it's like, okay, the season's here. People are breaking for camp. They're getting excited. Practice is about to start. Here we go. And we start our team previews. Welcome, everybody. Let's get it on. And so I'm excited for this, KG. It's a really fun thing that we do. We're going to go through each and every team. We're going to cluster some teams. We have some interviews with coaches. We're going to maybe bring on some other guests. We're going to be kind of random with this because, you know, we started a little later. I'll peel back the curtain here. Some coaches were on vacation, and now it's camp. And, you know, it is what it is. So it's going to be fun, though. We're going to go through a lot of these different teams. I'm going to the different places right now. You know, for this episode in particularly, we're going to go through NC State and Wake Forest. I was literally just there. I was just seeing them. Now, it was day one for both of them. So, you know, there's good and bad with that. But we're here, and it's exciting. And a lot of people are excited to get this thing rolling.
Well, that's what's great about this episode, and partly why we're starting with NC State and Wake. Obviously, they're located closely to each other, but Mac was just there and saw these teams, albeit day one, but saw them with his own eyes. And Mac, you know, the world has changed. Like, talking to a coach, which we have to figure out with their schedules when we can talk to them. Talking to a coach in late June, it's kind of silly. Like, why would we do that in this current world order? Yeah. So most of our coaches that we did get, and we did get some of the really big ones, so we're excited for you guys to hear those interviews. We talked to them late July or right now. So hopefully it's better information for you than talking to some coach in June or whatever, Mac. But I do know it's like your life has changed a bit, Mac, right? Like August 1st used to be you're going to fall camp. You're going to sweat your butt off. You're going to, you know, die out there on the football field. Now you're traveling all over the place, but you do have time in between, I sure hope, to hit the grill.
Of course. That's what we do best, okay? We're going to hit the grill. And again, I mentioned to you guys that this is kind of my season. I got to get it in right now, August, as we're doing these things. And I'm just going to put this out there because it's on the horizon. We're probably 10 days away from this. When we go to Clemson, which will be about August 18th, that's when their practice is, just to date this. My brother, Isaac, who you guys have seen some stuff. You've definitely seen him on my Instagram. And my cousin, Ryan, who played at Clemson, is in the Army. They are coming to my house, and then we are going to Clemson. So we are going to have a bro night. Khaki and Amelia will be going to Charleston, and we're throwing down on the grill. And we're going to do ribeyes. We're going to do all the sides. And you know we're going to get it all from Ingles, the best place to get it. The best meats in town. So I cannot wait. And then we're going to go to Clemson, and I get to shop at my Ingles, the best one, right there down the street on Issaquahna Trail. So you got to check that one out too. So great partner. We love Ingles so much. We've done some really great things with them. If you guys forgot about our 500 episode, we did a huge thing with those guys, and y'all helped us, so we really appreciate that. We're able to donate a lot of money for hurricane relief to a foundation that's right there and personal with Ingles, and just want to appreciate you guys. Appreciate Ingles for connecting those dots. So Ingles is doing a lot of things, and they're getting ready for tailgate season as well, KG. So let's get a message from our friends real quick, and then we're going to dive into the Wolfpack and the Demon Deacons.
Did you know that Ingles sells more organics than any other store? Or that they run their own dairy? Or that they only serve USDA choice and prime meat? Did you know that they have more local craft beer than any place else? Or that they have Energy Smart stores? Or that they professionally slice and package imported cheese from Europe? Did you know about their giant international aisle, local farm partnerships, curbside pickup, wine department? Or that they donate 3,956 meals a day to local food banks? Well, now you do. It's all in the bag. Ingles, low prices, love the savings.
Okay, Mac, let's start in Raleigh. As we alluded to, you were just at NC State's camp. You were just at Wake Forest camp. We're going to start with the NC State Wolfpack. They finished last year 6-7, 3-5 in the ACC. Their first losing record in 5 years. Yeah. And the losing record happened because they lost to East Carolina in the bowl game. Picked 10th in the ACC preseason poll. I saw this stat, Mac. This kind of blew me away. Dave Doran is entering his 13th season in Raleigh which means he's the 6th longest tenured head coach in the country.
Wow. Dang.
Pretty unbelievable that that number. I know that the coaching carousel and just the turnover has been crazy, but he's done a lot in Raleigh. He's been there for a long time, and it feels like I think there is some pressure on this season to bounce back. You have a homegrown second-year starter in CJ Bailey. I know you have new coordinators on both sides of the ball, but you do return a good amount of pieces. So
yeah.
We'll get into some of these specific pieces, Mac, but what were your initial takeaways from NC State camp being there?
Yeah, I want to stay here for a second because I think it's interesting what you just said there when, that there's pressure to win. And because two things. A, I don't think anybody's expecting them to. I think, NC State is just kind of like there right now from a national perspective, from like
but
a
they
big
seem to
dog.
do better in the years where the expectations are lower.
100%. They absolutely thrive in that. They thrive in that. And actually, I know State fans listening like, okay, we don't put us with them, but it just seems like UNC, NC State, when there's hype and expectation, do not do well. They just, for whatever reason, don't know why, but they do not do well. Since I've been working at ESPN, since we've been doing this podcast, it's just not a thing. And so, it's interesting to me, like, is there pressure? I don't know. And is the pressure internal? Is the pressure the fan base? Like, what is the pressure? Because you're always going to have that, right? Like, your fans are always going to say, we got to win more. Unless you win a championship and go undefeated every year, got to do better. Got to win more. But he's literally the winningest coach ever at this school. All he has ever done is win. And, I know people say, well, you got to do this. You've never done it, right? You've had 10 wins once. You've never won, the ACC championship game. You've never been to the ACC championship game. So there's to me, it's weird how there's that expectation of you got to do that, but you've never done it. So
the narrative,
I do hear you want to get there. Like, yeah, of course. Our standard is what we want the standard to be is the best. And we want to win games and we want to win championships, but also winning's hard. And let's be realistic. And he's the winningest dude there. But he also said, he brought this up on our show, KG. Somebody asked him, and I think either Justin or Lugs brought it back up, that they're like, you said you don't feel pressure to win. And he said, yeah, the reason I don't is because it just comes with the territory. Like, we want to win every game. So I don't feel external pressure to win because I already have that. And I want to win every game. So I thought that was really interesting.
That's a good point. And I think that's probably a healthy way to handle it mentally.
Right, for sure.
When you look at, so last year, 6-7, 6-6 overall. No. To me, and of course the ECU game with the brawl, that was not a great look. And of course you open with ECU on a Thursday night. We will get to that.
How awesome.
But to me, for NC State fans, this doesn't sound like a big difference, but I think State fans understand what I mean. 7-5, 8-4 is more what you expect.
For sure.
Right?
For sure.
6-6, yes, I think you expect to go bowling. That's what Dave Doran has established here at NC State. They go bowling pretty much every year. But it feels like 6-7 or 6-6 feels so different than even a 7-5 or an 8-4.
Yeah, and I think, circumstantially, you look at last year, okay, you invested a lot of money in a quarterback. Right. And you're thinking this guy's going to be the dude, and he gets hurt. And it just doesn't work. And you have a new leader. Okay, you had this stretch of linebackers that was like the best run in school history, and just one after another they played together, and then one kind of left at a time there. And now you have Cade Fordham, who you think's going to step in and be the guy, and he gets hurt. And so it's like all this leadership, the two guys who you thought were going to be the faces, the voices of your team, done very quickly. And so you were put in a super adverse situation, and obviously that's hard. You got a true freshman in there at quarterback, and a lot of pieces missing from the defense. And so I get it. It's tough, and I also get what you're saying that that stinks. But I don't know. There's just a lot of State fans that want to do whatever they do, and I don't know about that. But anyway, looking at this team, talking about now. I'm going to peel back the curtain again. I love doing this because it's just so funny. I text you and say, NC State's got a chance. You say, Mac, you say that to me every year. And I do. I don't know why. I just love NC State, I guess. I love Coach Doran. I love Coach Thunder, the way they go about their business. And but I will say, CJ looked really good. And that was impressive to me. And physically, I think he's gained some weight. He's tall. That dude's 6'7". I think he might have grown a little bit. I think he grew because he's tall.
He's 6'7", and he's put on 45 pounds since he got to campus in January of 24.
Right, and so maybe 15 pounds this summer, off season, whatever. Just looks the part, looks really good. And from a physical standpoint, saw him leading, saw it feels like it's his team, but then also like the ball coming out, really, really nice. I mean, that dude is decisive. He makes decisions, 1, 2, 3. And the balancing act of this is, okay, is the defense bad?
Yeah.
Is he good? And that's what's hard to tell. And that was what was hard to tell a couple of years ago with Clemson. I got on here and, said what I thought, and they were going to be this and that. And you're like, oh, well, they both kind of stunk. That makes sense, when you see those things. So that is a hard thing to decipher. But just mechanically, body type, I mean, I liked a lot what I see. And I called C.J. Bailey a star. He can emerge as a superstar. And guess what? NC State, we're going to be right back at Expectation City next year if he does what I think he can this year.
It all starts at quarterback, and NC State has a good one. He's very young, true sophomore, but he was thrown into the fire last year and got some really good experience. Overall, completed about 65% of his passes, 17 touchdowns, 10 picks, rushed for 5 touchdowns. He's mobile too.
Yeah.
And putting on more weight, that's helpful because they're probably going to need him to be mobile. So that's all good, Mac. Like I love that they have a homegrown guy who obviously wants to be there, didn't just, and they've had some issues with guys leaving, whatever. And a guy that you can build around, can be that leader. And Mac, I say that tongue in cheek because you go to NC State every year and you get hype. And here's why. Let's be honest. NC State has athletes.
They do.
NC State looks the part.
Yeah.
They generally do. Yeah. It's just something always goes wrong, whether it's injuries, right? We've talked about that. Whether it's, you open with, gosh, what little team did they open with last year? Western.
Yeah, gosh.
And almost blow it. Or you play Tennessee and get embarrassed. Like, something just happens to go wrong. But I think staying healthy is most important. And Mac, frankly, I think it's a fresh start, as we mentioned, new coordinators on both sides of the ball. Kurt Roper, OC, DJ Elliott from Baylor, the DC. You moved on from Anai. It felt like that wasn't working. So what did you see from kind of that perspective offensively? Yeah,
and I think that's unfortunate, right? Because Coach Anai's offense is fun, and it's super unique, but it didn't really fit, right? And that's a risk. That's a risk you take when you bring in something like that is so different and so unique. And I think that they saw that, and everybody kind of came to terms of, okay, we have to do what's best for the team here. And I thought it was really cool, because I always like this when a homegrown guy, a guy that's been there and in the program, gets elevated. And Kurt Roper has been around the block, right? He's been to some really great programs. He's kind of that, Cutcliffe disciple. He's been a lot of that tree, around that tree, and under Coach Cut. And so you're probably going to see some more pro-style offense. You're probably going to see under center. My goodness, how fun is that? From a lot of different things there, some play action and, just some more pro-style things that I think will, obviously help a quarterback's development. And the other thing, there may be a learning curve and there might be some language that changes, but at the end of the day, Coach Roper knows what CJ likes and CJ knows how to communicate with him. And there's that comfortability there that I think is vital. And they didn't have to go through that entire process for 2 years in a row now with CJ. That it was done. And so, he can take that ownership. Coach knows what he has. He knows the players. There is no learning curve from a personnel standpoint, which I think is really important. And you look at that, and I see some of these guys on here, from a weapon standpoint. Yeah. Noah Rogers, I think, just has a chance. Like, I need him to take a really big step. Yep. And maybe he will, maybe he won't. I think he has all the skill in the world. Wesley Grimes, we know very well as ACC people what he did at Wake Forest. Did, some marginal things last year and had a good year, but how can he take another step forward? Terrell Anderson, I think, is going to be a really good player, a young cat there. But the two guys that I think I get the most excited about, just because I know that they are going to produce, there's no question of what we're going to kind of get from them, and that's Justin Jolie at the tight end position and Hollywood Smothers at the running back. Those guys are going to deliver. And you mentioned health. They've got to stay healthy, have to stay available. But those are two guys in the pass game, the run game, the block game, whatever. I know they're going to deliver and be really nice targets and weapons for CJ. Absolutely. Those guys are pretty proven. And then you hope Rogers and Grimes step up even more. And I think having, hopefully, knock on wood for NC State, one quarterback the whole year. Because McCall and CJ Baylor were very different. So you had to adjust to that on the fly if you're a skill player. So, I think the weapons are there, Mac. Absolutely. And,
we've talked about the last couple of years that NC State defense and how good it's been. Tony Gibson moves on. He's the head coach at Marshall now. They hired DJ Elliott from Baylor. I saw this stat, Mac. They returned 1 of their top 6 tacklers in Sean Brown. Now, Caden Fordham is back, but he was hurt.
Correct.
So it feels like you're going to need this offense to score because the defense may be in a bit of a transition. Like, what did you see defensively?
Yeah, well, and it's hard, right? Because that's where, we're talking about it's day one and there's no pads on, and it's hard to play defense when you can't be physical and can't do things of that nature. It's hard to play offensive line when you can't be physical and do things of that nature.
Mac, it's just hard to play offensive line, period. Come on.
That is a fact. Thank
Hardest
you for
position
saying
in
that.
sports.
Say it with your chest. Come on, let's go. But I think another thing to remember about this defense is they were not good last year. I mean, they were like bottom 15. They were 15th in a lot of different categories or worse, which is not at all what we expect and what we come to know, about NC State and the standard that has been set there. So how do they get back to that? So maybe it is a good start, a fresh start with different faces, new name coming in, to be the coordinator. They're going to move to a 4-down front, which I like. I'm not in love with the 3-man front defensively. I just think it's easier to run block against, especially when you have a bigger team you're going against. So I like that we're going to have 4 guys down there, some transfers that have come in, some guys that have been waiting their turn that now it's time to step up and it's time to be, a star for this defense. They reloaded their secondary there, and I think that's going to be really helpful, especially some of the pieces they lost. But that will be like, I don't really have questions about the offense. I think the offense is going to be good, and I think they're going to be able to operate at a high level. I just need to see the defense. And, the good thing is we get to see that game one, and we get to see the passion and the energy and the excitement because you got revenge on your mind, and you better have it there.
Okay, let's talk about game one. This is such an interesting situation.
It's fascinating.
For NC State to be in. And for people, I mean, I know State fans know this. Like, NC State and ECU do not like each other.
No.
Outside of the Carolinas, people might not understand what that is. I mean, the brawl should have showed them. But ECU is probably the best athletic department in North Carolina outside of the Big Four, right? So they're always trying to beat the Big Four. It's their thing.
No doubt.
And of course, they just won the bowl game. So, and that's a Thursday night. It's going to be hype, Mac. I can't wait. It feels like that's going to be one of the first big games of the season. You open with ECU, then you have Virginia, then you're at Wake. So if you can beat ECU, I feel like a 3-0 start here is very possible going into the game at Duke, which probably is going to be a really good game. You don't have Tennessee week 2, which I think is good for this team, but it feels like you probably are feeling some pressure for that week 1 game.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's any question about that, just because of how it ended. And I think they're comfortable enough with me saying there was enough people that were talking about it. But NC State wanted to really set the tone, this summer, that they kind of felt, and I think Coach Dorn actually said this on our show too, amongst others that had told me something very similar to this all throughout the staff and players. But they wanted to set the tone, and they felt like, the standard, the attention to detail, some things had maybe slid a little bit. Maybe that was the reason for the lack of success last year. And so from week 1, summer training, if you were 4 minutes early, you were late. If you were late, you're late. And we're running. Like, it's this happened. No. Okay, stop everything that we had planned. Get outside. And they set that tone. And, guys said it took about a week and a half, and then everybody from that point on was locked in and understood, okay, this is what it takes. And I think a lot of that, kind of came from that bowl game and how it was handled. And listen, I think ECU started it. There's film. You can go look at what happened, but, it was a big deal. And I'm sure they were embarrassed, from an administration, coaches, and players should be too. So it's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of passion. And I think, it's interesting too, because obviously you want to beat these guys, right? And how do you tone it down to
not put too much pressure on the game.
Yeah, it's just a game. It's the first game. It's the most important game because it's this game. But we got a season. And at the end of the day, this is a small opponent. You need to do that and beat them. And I think it's, the score should be lopsided, but it's hard to win, right? It's hard to score points. It's hard to win. I am more interested in, does it look like NC State is dominating? Does it look like they're pushing them around? They're making tackles for loss. They're not allowing tackles for loss. They're executing at a high clip. And then, the score will be what it is. And at the end of the day, are they 1-0 or not? That's all that I really care about. But I do hope that it looks a certain way. And then you mentioned the rest of the schedule. Tom Luganbill said these guys might be undefeated rolling into Notre Dame. Now, I think that's pretty big talk, because I think Duke's going to be really good, and I kind of know what I'm going to get from Duke. And maybe that's not fair to say, because their quarterback's coming up a level. He's coming from Tulane. He's coming into the Power 5. But I don't know. I feel really good about those guys. We'll talk about them, at the next episode. But that game's going to be fun. I think that game will be very telling how the rest of the way goes for either Duke or NC State.
I agree, Mac. And I did have the thought, too, because – when you get to that stretch post-Campbell for NC State, October 11th through the end of the season.
Oh, it cranks up.
At Notre Dame, at Pitt, Georgia Tech, at Miami, Florida State, North Carolina. That is a tough stretch. So you better get your wins. And that's probably more of what Luke's was saying. Like,
right.
You got to get your wins early on if you're NC State. I do know Carter Finley's going to be electric on August 28th.
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a big deal. And that's just, it's one of those places, right? Like you and I have talked about it enough. This place gets after it. That place should be electric. It's a night game, game one. Let's go.
ECU.
Just lost to these boys.
Yeah.
Come on. Back it out and really get it ready. But one thing I will say about the schedule that I am sad about is that Clemson is not on it. That's a game that I always love. And I always love playing them. Always love going there. Always love when they came to our house. And that kind of stinks. So I was just looking at this like, I don't appreciate that. We need to fix it.
That's what happens when you have 27 teams in a conference.
That's right.
It's just ridiculous.
That's right.
Mac, let's just hit on the win total here for NC State before we get to Wake Forest.
Okay.
6.5.
Oh,
6.5.
really? Okay.
So to our point, your first 6 games, like if you're undefeated or if you're 5-1, then you feel pretty good. But NC State needs to make their money early on with this schedule. Because not only do you have like Notre Dame, Miami, those are on the road. You finish Florida State, UNC back-to-back. Who knows what UNC and Florida State will look like.
Right.
I think this is a bounce-back year for NC State. I think a lot of it relies on health, as it always does with NC State. I'm not sure I'm completely drinking the red Kool-Aid that Eric McLean texted me about.
We got extra. Hold on. Let me find something real quick. Let me look in my
bag
of goodies.
Give me 7 win NC State at least.
Okay, so you are going over.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I'm feeling
doing this
over.
on the road here.
Oh,
I
what do we
keep
got?
this right here with me.
Oh, yeah, a little red solo cup, Dave Dorn action.
The red Kool-Aid. This is, somebody brought this up and I mentioned it. This is the red solo cup that he drank after on
the
TV.
One?
This
How
is the
did
one.
you get that?
It might not be the one, but I'm saying it's the one. Nobody knows differently. And it says, "Go Pack, Dave Dorn."
Should've gone with it.
I am drinking the red Kool-Aid. I'm in. I think they go over. I think 8 wins is the minimum. And I'm looking I hear you with that first stretch. You have to, right? Like
have to.
5-1 is probably what you have to be.
Bare minimum.
Right there. But I'm looking at Pittsburgh. Who knows? At Georgia Tech coming to you. I think that's a toss-up. Miami, we think we're going to be really good. Florida State coming to you. That's a house of horrors for them. And you own North Carolina, so I don't even know if I'm worried about that game. So I think these guys, I think they're going to do it. And I think it's going to be a really fun season. And like I said, if you mess around and win 8, there's going to be a lot of jacked up State fans going into 26. And just the expectation of this team, looking at the roster, looking at, some of these playmakers, obviously some guys will be moving on, but there's some real youth. Like Noah Rogers will be a junior. Terrell Anderson will be a junior. You look at Hollywood will be, I think he'll be a junior. So it's like, that's kind of like, let's go. Let's get to this point for the offense. But I'm right there with you. I'm going over for the win total.
And it's so rare to be able to keep a core together if they can do that.
For sure, especially in this day and age.
That's different.
No doubt.
All right, Mac, let's spend a little time here on the Deeks. There really is no core. The core is DeMont Claiborne. He's the
It's a great core to have.
Yeah, exactly. First time in 11 seasons that Dave Clawson is not in charge in Winston, which is so weird. We wish Coach Clawson the best. We always loved having him on our show. Jake Dickert takes over from Washington State. They returned DeMont Claiborne. I saw you saying, Mac, best running back in the ACC. I'd love to elaborate on that, but you were there. I mean, you got to see day one of the Jake Dickert era. Yeah. What were your initial thoughts?
Yeah, well, a lot of energy, right? And that was something that was very much discussed at media day, but also, throughout practice. And you could just see it, like guys flying around, coach flying around, jacked up, juiced up, really excited. And there's a lot to be excited about, right? Like Wake Forest, first of all, their facilities, KG, like I've been there before a couple of years ago.
I saw you getting a lift in.
Come on, that's just what I do. But so we went before, and it was really like in and out. And the weight room was great. It was really cool. But I didn't get to see a lot like I did this time. I had some time, and I walked around that thing, and it is beautiful. Like it is upper echelon, I think, in the country. I mean, I'll say this league for sure, but really nice. Like the materials, the look, the openness. It's really good. They've done a great job there.
That's good to hear.
It is at Wake Forest. And, hearing about these new plans, I think they called it, what did they call it? I'm going to butcher this. They maybe called it the grounds. I know that's like a Super Virginia thing, but I think they called it that. They're basically building this like park close to the stadium that's going to be very similar to what the Braves have. I think that's called the Battery down there.
Oh, yeah.
Shops, restaurants, whatever.
Interesting.
Right there. And it's going to be like an entertainment hub. I mean, that was cool. And as soon as I went to a Braves game for the first time this summer, and we're, doing all that, I'm like, how do you harness
that place
this
is sick. I've been
in
there,
college? How do we get this to college campuses or near? And, it's hard to do, but they're doing it. I mean, they have, in the ground, they have, what's the word for a shovel? They have shovels in the ground, and doing stuff. They've broken ground on this project. It's a huge deal.
What's the word for a shovel?
I'm sitting here looking like,
I have a 2-year-old boy, a shovel.
Yeah, what do you dig with? What do you put in the ground? Dirt comes up. There's a bucket involved. Every day. Oh yeah, shovel. Yeah, there it is. Amelia, not a shovel girl. Anything else.
Nice.
Sorry. But that I was really encouraged by all of that, and so I think of, the foundation that Coach Dickard is standing on, and the success and the opportunity for the success and the winning culture, that has been at Wake Forest. I mean, you look at the past decade. Those guys, that's just all they've done. They've won. They've been very consistent, and Coach Clawson did an unbelievable job. And now it's about taking that next step. And, does that necessarily happen on the field right away? Probably not. They were voted second to last in the ACC media poll that I wasn't a part of, by the way. I didn't get an email, so don't know what's up with that. But anyway, so there's an uphill, battle to climb in perception and things of that nature. But you've done it, and you've got some really great things. And you have an amazing running back in DeMond Claiborne that handling the ball right, left, pitch it to him, throw it to him, snap it to him, whatever you have to do. That guy needs a lot of touches in a hurry.
And I'm just so glad he stayed at Wake because, I know he had offers, wants to get that degree, which is really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what he did last year, Mac. He was absolutely fantastic, over 1,000 yards. He also had 23 catches, 13 touchdowns. He's got to be everything for this team. You got to find a way to keep him healthy. You can't overwork him. And then you've got this quarterback battle, Robbie Ashford, who's a journeyman, and then Deshaun Purdy, sophomore transfer from Charlotte.
Yeah.
I know it was day one. Did you pick anything up there?
I think it's an open competition, and good or bad. I think they, both need to keep working hard and find a guy. I'm not a fan of a 2-quarterback system.
Me neither.
They might be similar enough to where, that's not even a case, in an instance.
Well, it's
maybe there's
hand
packages.
The ball to DeMond.
Right. Like that's what you need to do. But yes. And really at the end of the day, like, I know that's joking and I've said that before too, but the way that I would evaluate this quarterback competition, seeing what I saw day one, knowing that they're going to get better, is who just doesn't put us in bad spots.
Yeah.
Who just doesn't make mistake after mistake, who makes the right play, who can check it down, who takes us. It's okay to take a sack sometimes. Don't throw an interception trying to avoid a sack. It's okay to throw the ball away. Whoever can do that and really manage the game, I think you're in a good spot because you have a great running back. You're going to have some skill players that step up, around him who will protect us and help us win, because ultimately that's your biggest responsibility as a quarterback. And we'll see. We'll see how they evaluate that. But they were all the coaches we talked to were very clear. Like this is a competition, and we will make a decision, as we get closer to game one.
Yeah, good point. And then when you look at the defense, I mean, When you look at Wake's issues last year at 4-8, 2-6 in the ACC, their defense was dead last in total defense in the ACC, giving up 435 yards per game. Like it was tough. So feels like that defense has nowhere to go but up.
Right.
Like Anderson is back, should be the heart and soul. We'll see where their depth is defensively. That's always kind of been the concern with Wake Forest. But you got to be better than what you were last year.
You have to be. And, you've got two really good safeties, guys that have been there, have done that. Devon Patterson last year was really, really good. Kind of his first action. And then a guy in Nick Anderson that's literally seen as much as you can see, as a football player. I think those two guys have a chance to be special, lead the team, from the back forward. And, you've got to get pass rush. You've got to have guys getting after the quarterback, stopping the run. Some big opportunities there for guys to step up. And there's a lot of transfers too, right? There's a lot of new faces and opportunity for guys to step up. And I think that's another good thing, when you bring in a new coordinator, you have that fresh start where guys can go earn it. And maybe, in the old regime, somebody didn't like you, right? That's what we say, right? Coaches don't like me. Well, now you have the opportunity to change all that. And you can go out there and bust your tail every day. And you just hope that's what these defenders do and earn their stripes out there.
The last thing really to talk about with Wake is the schedule. And I saw this stat, Mac, by PFF. Wake has the easiest schedule in the country per PFF.
What does that mean?
They miss Clemson. They miss Miami. They miss Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
They do have SMU on there. They have Georgia Tech, NC State, North Carolina. Every one of those games I just said is at home. So, your toughest road game on this, you are going to Oregon State, which
a little bizarre.
I think that replaced maybe the Ole Miss game they had. You're going to Florida State, to Virginia Tech, but there are some wins to be had. The win total is at 4.5. They go 4-8 last year. I'm just not sure what you're going to get from your quarterback, what you're going to get from your defense. 4-8 sounds kind of like what you could see for this year from Wake.
I'm staring at 3. I feel good at 3. Delaware, Kennesaw State, Western Carolina.
And then you don't know where the other two
Oregon
are.
Oregon State, I don't.
Oregon State, you just have to travel so
haven't studied them. I don't know.
Well, Malik Murphy's there now.
Feel good about that. Hit him. Can't really move. I'll push. I think 4 is the number, which I wish it was 3.5.
Well, that means it'd be the under because 4.5 is.
Yeah. Oh, it's 4.5. Oh, yeah. Okay, good. I'm going under then. Sorry, I hate that. I hate going under. But yeah, I think 4 is the number. But again, go get your team. Let's play physical. Let's play fast. There's way, and I think what's interesting too that everybody gets so caught up, and it's a relatively normal thing. You look straight at the win-loss column. Was this team good or bad? And that's how you judge it. But there's other ways, to be able to judge it. If you know what you're kind of looking at, did guys make progress? Did guys play hard? Did you see effort? Did you see a bunch of mistakes or guys that were executing at a high level and they just weren't good enough? That's a real thing, that you can kind of see there. So there will be other ways to measure season for all these ACC teams as we continue to go through than just wins and losses. But this is a good start, KG.
Yeah.
I'm ready to keep it rolling. We're going to go Duke, Carolina, have the great Tom Luganbill join us to talk about them. So we'll kind of wrap up the Carolina there, the North Carolina schools. That's funny. We kind of clustered them all together, just worked that way. And then we're going to keep on rolling. We're going to keep on rolling. I head down to Miami. I head up to Syracuse. I head over to Dallas. I'm just going top, bottom,
You're going
left.
everywhere, Mac.
That's what I do. Praise God, I'm not going to California. It's all good. It's all good there. So, but these have been really fun, and we're going to continue to go through these teams. And excited for you guys to hear from some of these coaches, KG.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've got some really good coaches interviews in the can, so those will be coming next week. We'll hit you with at least one of those. So excited for that. And yeah, it feels like we're here, Mac. I'm very intrigued by NC State. I really am.
I am too.
And it feels like August 28th is right around the corner. So I don't know, Mac. I don't know if you've convinced me or what, but I think we'll learn a lot that August 28th. Like if you go out there and handle your business, NC State.
You're on the train?
Let's talk. Let's
right.
have a discussion.
I'll send you a solo cup. We can make this happen.
Okay. Actually, maybe by August 28th, I'll be able to drink. Who knows?
Things we look forward to on this podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. We're super jacked up. Football season's here. Cannot wait. Comment on these things right here. We need to hear your thoughts on your team or other teams. Are we good? Are we bad? Are we high? Are we low? Tell us about it. Are you drinking the red Kool-Aid is the biggest question. of the day. We appreciate you guys always. Go over, subscribe. Gramlich and Mac Lane over on YouTube. We're on SiriusXM. That's been killing. It's been really, really fun. So we appreciate you guys joining this journey everywhere you can. And until next time, we'll see y'all.